Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
Yes. So we have completed the infancy stage. Today we'll be starting the childhood stage. Okay. Do you have any doubt in the infancy? No. As I say, doubts will occur only when you start study. Okay. Just a minute. You can write the heading childhood. I'm sharing the screen. Okay. So we start with childhood. First of all, we have physical development. The first section that we're going to learn about in childhood stages, physical development. In infancy also, we learned about the motor development, the physical abilities of the infant, isn't it? And most of them was dominated by the reflexes in infancy. But here we have to learn about two principles. Color is different. Okay, two principles, that is, one is cephalochordal principle and another one is Proximo Distal principle. Please note down the names, cephalochordal principle and Proximo Distal principle. Noted. Okay. Now, just consider this figure. One is from up to down, other one is from left to right. Okay, just consider that, and it's based on this figure that we are going to study these two principles, cephalochordal as well as proximodistal principle. So let's say the first one, cephalochordal principle. From the cephalic or the head region, the term cephalic means it's related to the head region. Please note down. When you complete all the portions, you'll get a doubt. What is cephalic? So please note down in your textbook or in your lecture note. Cephalic means it's related to the head region, to the caudal or the tail region, that is the end part of the body. So cephalic means it will be from head to toe. Development takes place from head to toe. So children gain control over the upper part of the body before the lower part. Children gain control over the upper part of the body below the before the lower part, which means haven't you seen children moving their heads in the beginning? Initially they'll be moving their heads from left to right and from up and down and all. They'll be observing more things with the head. So the development as such takes place first in the head region than the tail region. Okay, that is the cephalochordal principle. According to the cephalochordal principle, development follows a pattern. That pattern is from head to tail. That is from the cephalic region till the caudal region. Cephalic means it's related to the head and caudal means it's related to the tail end of the body. So it happens like this. I told you to remember the plus. It happens from the upper portion of the body. That is when a person stands from the upper portion, that is the head region, to the tail region, that is the toe region. Okay, in human beings, it's the toe region. So head to toe. We say no, head to toe. Development takes place from head to toe. That is cephalochordal principles. Don't confuse this. That's why I told you cephalic means it's head. So it's starting from head and obviously it will end at the tail region, at the end portion, the toe region. Okay. And the next one, that is Proximo Distal principle. It is from the center of the body and moves towards the extremities or more distal regions. So development starts in the center and then goes to the extremities. That is, I can tell you an example. The vital organs of our body, the heart, the lungs, and all the internal organs, they are present in the center part of our body, isn't it? They're not present in our hands or legs. Okay, when we spread out our hands or legs, the center part means it's the main part of the body. So that is developed first and then it goes to the extremities. Okay, that is a Proximo Distil principles. That is, it begins in the center, then goes to the extremities. So children gain control over their torso. Torso means trunk region, this region, the abdomen part and the central part of the body before the extremities. That is the Proximo Distal principle. If you have noted down, I'll show you the picture. So cephalocaudal takes place from head region, that is cephalic region, to the caudal region, that is the tail region. But here, when we consider the body of the person like this, then it happens according to Proximo Distal principle, development happens here first, then it moves to the extremities. Okay, that is Proximo Distal principle. If you have any doubt, please clear now itself and then we'll move. All clear? Okay, so let's see the picture. See, this is how the development takes place. According to cephalocaudal, it's from head to foot, head to toe. Okay, so it's in this manner. Development follows this manner. Now, proximo-distal means from the midline, that is from the middle part of the body, from the central part of the body to the extremities. So it's not from like this, from one side to the other. It's from center to the extremities. Okay, from this point to the left and right to the extreme parts. That is the proximo-distal principle. All right, clear? Okay. Then we have another important point. So which was the heading? Here it was physical development. The physical development in childhood follows two principles, that is cephalocaudal principle and proximo-distal principle. Now we have specifically the motor development. Earlier, what was it? It was related to the reflexes. The motor movements was related only to the reflexes and they were automatic. Isn't it? Reflexes were automatic and they were the adaptive functions, adaptive movements of the infant. Now here in childhood stage, we have two main things, that is gross motor skills and fine motor skills. Usually when you think of childhood, when you think of the stage childhood, what is the thing that comes to your mind? Or when you think of a child, what is the thing that comes to your mind?
Ma'am, childhood is when they learn how to walk.
I just heard walk. I didn't understand the rest. Can you repeat?
Ma'am, childhood is when they understand, learn how to walk.
Learn to walk, yes.
Childhood means they cannot talk the languages, their tongue languages. They don't know what.
They don't know exactly, but they are starting to learn. Okay, I'm talking about the motor development, the movements and behaviors and actions of children in the childhood stage.
Ma'am, they run around a lot.
They are
Ma'am, they run around a lot.
run around a lot, yes. They hop around a lot, isn't it? Yes. Start.
Cannot stand straight.
Cannot stand straight, yes. In the beginning, they cannot, but later on they learn. Then I'll give you another example. Suppose I give you a 2-patty or 3-patty burger. You can eat it very happily, isn't it? Without much mess. But if I give the same to a child, just imagine the table. How would it be?
The table will be dirty.
The table will be dirty. Are you still creating the mess? No. Okay. Yeah. So again, I'll give you another example. Puzzles. You know the jigsaw puzzles, isn't it? If I give it to you now, you can try and fix it. If you know the picture, you can try and fix it. But what about the child? Child of age, maybe 5 years or 6 years of age.
Child is very difficult to fix a puzzle.
Yeah, child faces very much difficulty, isn't it? And even they won't feel it as a difficulty because they can fit any piece. According to them, that's right. But we'll find out that this piece fits only with the other piece with the same shape or the same connections. And then we can make out what is the shape and size, and then we can fix it easily. So those skills vary according to the different developmental stages. And that's what we are going to talk about now, the gross motor skills and fine motor skills. In gross motor skills that involve large muscle activities such as walking, in walking or jumping or dancing, all these require so much of effort from the person, isn't it? And the muscle and bone activity that is required too much in gross motor skills. So they are related to large muscle activity. That is why it is said as gross motor skills. Okay. This motor skills, that there are two types, gross and fine. And in gross, it involves large muscle activities. One example is walking, or you can write jumping. All those comes under motor development. Then similarly, fine motor skills that involve more finely tuned movements such as finger dexterity. Just take the textbook, table 4.3. Finger dexterity means again what do you call? You can easily coordinate your fingers with the actions that you do. Like needling a thread. That requires fine movements, isn't it? If we give that to a toddler, will they be able to do it? Some can. I'm not saying that nobody can, but still, it's very difficult for them, isn't it? Because the fine motor skills are just developing. And an adolescent or an adult can easily do it unless they have an eyesight problem. Okay. Yes. So that's it. The fine motor skills. So just take page 73 and table 4.3. You have the list of gross and fine motor skills. Sanam, can you read the first one? Age 3, 4, 5 is given. Just read the one with 3 years. Did you take the page 73?
No, sir.
Okay. Everybody please take page 73.
Age
3 years.
3 years, hopping, jumping, running,
Hopping, jumping, and running are gross motor skills there. Then fine.
and fine motor skills, building blocks, pick objects with forefinger and thumb.
Yes. When the child is around 3 years of age, what happens is the gross motor skills like hopping, I told you, the jumping around, then running, all these develop in the child. Now, fine motor skills are related to building blocks. Usually that's given for when you go in a toy shop. It will be written for children about 3 years of age. Yes, that's because they have started to develop such motor skills. That's why it's mentioned for that particular age. So building blocks, then pick objects with forefinger and thumb. Like this. They'll start picking. When they are left to play in the playground, they start picking the stones and all these things from the ground, isn't it? Yes, it's very common. So that also happens, or that starts in the age of 3 years, that stage of childhood. All right, so that's related to fine motor skills in the age 3 section. Eva, next one, 4 years. Hmm. 4 years, second one. I cannot hear you.
Climb up and downstairs with 1 foot on each step. And fine motor skills is fit jigsaw puzzle precisely.
Yes, 4 years, climb up and downstairs with 1 foot on each step. Yes, the people who watch them climb up the stairs will have a heart attack, isn't it? They'll feel like they'll fall just now. That's the way they are climbing up the stairs. So that happens, that develops in the age range of 4 years. Then fit jigsaw puzzle precisely. They learn when they become 4 years, they start to do this. That is fit jigsaw puzzles precisely, which means if it is of, right, I'm horrible at drawing. Okay, there is a puzzle like this. One piece is like this. And the other one should be like this, isn't it? To fit in. Yes, but when they reach 4 years, and then for some people it's 5 or 6 years, then only they start learning that this is how they fit it. Okay, others might fit it in other manner. That is, one with like this will be again fitted with something like this. We don't call it fitting, they are just placing it together, that's all. Okay, so this ability or skill to put the jigsaw puzzles together in a precise manner, that starts to develop in the age of 4. It's a general age, but some people, for some children, it might vary. All right. Then 5 years. We'll read. Kevin.
Run hard and enjoy races.
Hmm.
That's the gross motor skill. And fine motor skill is hand, arm, and body all coordinate with eye movement.
All coordinate with eye movement. Yes. In 5 years of age, the gross motor skills like run hard. That is, they start running at the age of 2 or 3. And then finally, when they reach 5, obviously they'll be the preschoolers, isn't it? Yes. So they'll start to enjoy races. And even if they are with parents, they'll say race you and then run. If we don't hold their hands, obviously they'll run to some other place and then we'll have to run for finding them. Yes. Then fine motor skills, the hand, arm, and body all coordinate with eye movement. You might have seen the kids, the KG students dance at school, isn't it? Yes, they start to develop that eye movement coordination, and then the hands, arms, legs, everything should coordinate with the eyes. Like when they look here, they should not move towards the other side, especially in dance. Yes, that starts to develop. It's not perfect when they dance, the KG students, isn't it? Yes, it's not perfect like adults. They start to develop this movement coordinations, that is with the hands, the parts of the body, and the eye. Okay, so that is also developed in the fine motor skills of age 5. And again, this age range is also a general one. It might vary for different people, different children. Then another motor development takes place is preference for right or left hand. This also happens in childhood. When they are when they start schooling, especially, the parents can understand which is their preference. Like some children might prefer one hand for writing and the other hand for eating and all those things. Okay, it again depends on the child. All right. So preference for right and left hand also develops in the childhood stage. So that's gross motor skills and fine motor skills. I show the pictures now. Yes. Under which category can you involve all these? Gross or fine?
Gross.
Gross. Okay, wait. What about this?
Fine.
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 Then obviously the other one would be gross, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this is related to gross motor skills because they are running around and playing. They're walking. They're making all these large muscle activities, riding a bicycle. See, not a bicycle, a tricycle. Playing basketball. Everything would come under gross motor skills. Okay, so understand these gross and fine motor skills, they are not only related to childhood because even now we have it, isn't it? Holding a pen or holding a stylus and writing on the board, that's a fine motor skill. Yes, if I want to write here and then I am writing here like this. If I want to write 6 and then I'm writing like this, which means I have no proper fine motor skills. Okay. So the gross motor skills and fine motor skills are present in every stage of development, but it is beginning in the childhood. The proper development starts in childhood. And what is the basis of all these movements? Building blocks of every movement. I'll give you a clue. It was present in infancy. What was it? The building block of motor movements. Anyone?
Ma'am, is it motor neurons?
No.
Ma'am, reflexes.
Reflexes, yes. When we saw reflexes, I told you these are the bases. These reflexes change into the voluntary movements later on, in later stages of development. Okay, so reflexes are the basic building blocks of the whole motor movements that happens in the future development. Okay, Sanjana, you're not well?
No, ma'am, I'm fine.
Okay, face looks a bit dull today. Okay, so this is related to fine motor skills, clay modeling. Then again, building blocks, then using a scissors. Yes, all these are fine motor skills. So what were fine motor skills? Finely tuned movements. Okay, skills that involve finely tuned movements, that is fine motor skills. All right. So the next one is moral development. The first one was physical development. That is the two principles, cephalochordal and proximo distal principles. Then second one was motor development. That is gross motor skills and fine motor skills. Now we have moral development. Moral values or moral science. We all, I mean, when I was at school, I had a subject called moral science. Did you have? Did you all study about that? Yes. Okay. And now it's, I think it's modified into life skills and all. LS, life skills, value education, all these things. It's related to the moral development of the children. Okay. So moral development, just knowing what is right, what is wrong, what is to be done, what is not to be done, what is ethically good, what is ethically right. Knowing all these things is related to the moral development. Okay. So learning to differentiate between the rightness or wrongness of human actness. Human actness means the human actions. The whole process of learning what is right and what is wrong in what we do or in our actions or in our behavior. That is moral development. That is related to moral development. So moral development is related to learning to differentiate between the rightness or wrongness of human actness. Or you can also write human actions. That's also right. Then what do they learn? So the whole process is about the learning, isn't it? Learning what is right and what is wrong. So what do they learn? They learn how to distinguish right from wrong. What is right and what is wrong. The children learn to distinguish between the two. Then to feel guilty. If they did anything wrong, they learn to feel guilty. Then to put themselves in other people's position. Do you know what that means, or what is the term given for that? To be in somebody else's shoes.
Empathy.
Empathy. Say that's empathy. Usually this is very important for psychology students, especially because we are learning a lot about empathy in the coming chapters. So whenever you hear about empathy, think this tagline: to think from another person's shoes, or to stand in another person's shoes and think from their perspective. That is empathy. Okay. To put themselves in another people's position, to help others when they are in trouble. All these things develop. Like when you're near to a 1-year-old infant, you can call them infant or a kid, depends. Okay. Now, if they don't like anything, they just throw things away, isn't it? It's very common. Or they give a slap on your face. That's also very common. But do they feel the regret? Or do they consider themselves guilty? No, right? Probably not. And when these parents are not even bothering to correct them, obviously they won't feel guilty in the coming days also. But when they scold them or when they correct them, then only they understand that this is right and this is wrong. That's why the moral values and moral science is important in each individual's life. Okay, the right and wrong is distinguished from the things that they learn and experience in their life. It's not about the whole textbook content of moral science. It's how they practice in daily life. Okay. All right. So that is one thing. Distinguish right from wrong, to feel guilty, to put themselves in another people's position, then to help others when they are in trouble. Okay. So these are the main things. Like when consider one situation where the mother and the child are there at home. Nobody else is there, just the mother and the child. And the mother fell down. And she is experiencing so much of pain. And the kid is lying next to her. But the kid is just sitting and playing with the toys. If they are of maybe 10 months of age or 12 months of age, obviously they won't know, no? They won't understand that this person is experiencing pain. Again, if they have a very close connection with the mother, obviously they'll also start crying, seeing the pain of this mother, but they are helpless. They don't know what to do next. But when they are going into the stage of childhood, obviously they learn to help others, to share things with others and all these things. Like if that was a child who is experiencing this particular situation, and child means the person in the childhood stage, then obviously they'll try to help, isn't it? They'll try to do something that they can. So that is again because of the moral development. They learn how to help and when to help people who are in trouble, especially people who are in trouble. Okay, so that's related to the moral development. Then another important thing, another important person to note here, Lawrence Kohlberg. Finally, we have been away from famous personalities for a very long time, isn't it? Yes, so we have one here, Lawrence Kohlberg. Note that name. This is a very important theory, Kohlberg's theory of moral development. Yes. Actually it's a very complicated theory, but I think only a simple version is given in the text. Yes. Only a few portion is given here, so don't worry about that. Okay. So stages of moral development, that was given by Lawrence Kohlberg. And according to Kohlberg, he said that this stages of moral development, it's age related. based on different age in the childhood stage or different stages in the whole development, the moral development and the each moral developmental stages changes. Okay. Okay. Now, how did Kohlberg study this whole situation and come up with such a theory? We'll see that. So he interviewed children in which they were presented with stories, again in which the characters face moral dilemmas. So the method used was interview method that we understood. Again, for research, we have different methods. One among them is interview method. So he used interview method. Who are the participants? Children were the participants. Okay. And what was the whole method? What was the whole procedure is? They were presented with stories. That is the children to be interviewed. They were presented with stories. And in the stories, what happened? The characters faced some or the other moral dilemmas. Like right now, I'm telling a story. And then I'm asking you, what would the character do? If you were the character, what would you do? If I ask like that, then I can know how your moral development is, isn't it? How what are your moral values in life? Yes. Similarly, that was a similar method applied here also. So children were asked what the characters in the dilemma should do and why. Okay, so the action was also focused and the reason behind that action was also focused. That is why they were asked what the character should do and why they should do that. Okay, I'll explain once more. The theory was age related and there are different stages based on the different ages in the childhood and the later developments. And the method used was the interview method for research and the participants were children. Fix that much. Interview method, so interviewing children. And how were they interviewed? They were asked questions based on the stories that they heard. And what were the stories? The stories were presented in which the characters or the main characters had some form of, they faced some form of moral dilemmas. Moral dilemmas means?
Crossroads of choices.
Yeah,
That's hard to
crossroad of choices, confusion. When you say in common terms, confusion. You cannot decide properly what to do. Should I do this or should I do that? That's a dilemma. Yes. Should I order biryani or should I order burger? Again, a dilemma. It's again a moral dilemma related to food. Okay. Yes. So children, and finally you end up ordering both. Ordering none, isn't it? When I'm at home, even my sister and I, we would sit for hours and see the whole menu, see the different restaurants if we have to order something, and then finally we'll order tomorrow because the time is up. Because of the pandemic, the food delivery apps would stop the delivery at a particular time. No, that was the problem. Okay, again, erase all that. Come back to moral development stages. Yes, so that method is understood. No, we'll continue. Yes. So children were asked what the characters in the who is facing the dilemma should do and why. That is the whole action plus the reason. Action is related to what they should do and reason is related to why they should do. Okay, what should they do and why should they do? That was asked to the children. Now, before 9 years, this was a whole experiment about, and before 9 years, consider that stage, before 9 years, they think in terms of external authority. Okay, they think in terms of external authority. That is, they think of some external authority. From them, will they get the reward, or from them, will they get the punishment? Will they get punished if they do something? That is the thought that goes if you belong to the category of 0 to 9 years. Or not 0 to 9 years, we can consider it as 2 to 9 years or 3 to 9 years, because at the childhood stage. Before that, we had infancy. So here, yeah, see, based on punishments and rewards. They'll think of external authority based on punishments and rewards also. Now, by early adolescence, through sets of rules of others and are internalized to be virtuous and win approval from others, not to avoid punishment. So here they'll do something. In this stage, they'll do something only with the thought of this punishment or rewards. Okay. Every action that they do, which is related to moral development, will involve this thought: will I get punished or will I get rewarded? Okay. That is why most of the children are bribed with chocolates and the rest of the things. If you do this, I'll give you chocolate. And that is a thought of reward in their mind, isn't it? So if they do an action and they think that it's right, then they'll be rewarded. Again, we are learning what is right and what is wrong in the whole moral development. Yes. So that's why it said it's based on external authority. And then if I ask you to complete 10 pages of assignment, then I'll give you one, would say, Cadbury eclairs tomorrow if you complete it by today. Will you do it? Even if I offer Cadbury silk, you won't do it, isn't it? You won't, because you're not thinking in terms of rewards and punishment there. Again, it's online class. So what would the teacher do? She can just remove you from the class, isn't it? From the Zoom meeting. That's all that she can do. She cannot come to your home. Obviously, you know that. So you're thinking in more complex ways. That's why it said, see the next point, by early adolescence, through sets of rules of others and are internalized to be virtuous and win approval from others. To win approval, suppose if it's your like hypothetical situation again, if it's your girlfriend who says you have to complete this assignment by this day, because you know it's very bad bad to say that my boyfriend or my girlfriend is not submitting the assignment on time. Even if she doesn't order, or even if he doesn't offer you the silk, you would complete to win her heart or win his heart, isn't it? Not you, at least you are very studious, you're very good children, I assume. And then it happens, isn't it? So again, it's, see, this point is very important, to win approval from others and not to avoid punishment. This is again another form of moral development which happens in early adolescence. So this is after childhood. Okay. This point is mentioned just to show that transition. And finally, after adolescence and throughout adulthood, they develop the moral code. Like when you become an adult, you have certain principles in life. You will have some common standard principles in life, or we call it a philosophy of life. Like maybe some of your moral values would include honesty, being honest, being punctual, being kind to others, and all these things. Okay. So that is called a moral code. You'll follow a code or pattern when you become an adult. And all these are learned in childhood throughout adolescence, and then you'll reach adulthood. It's not necessary that you'll follow the exact things that you followed in childhood. It's a transition period. Right now, you are in the main transition period, that is adolescence. It's a transition from childhood to adulthood. So there are chances that you can change. And when you reach the adulthood, then it's more of a standard level. Okay. All right. I think that's it. Now let's take the textbook and just read that portion, moral development. In childhood stage, we completed physical development. That's page number 72 and 73. Physical development is over. Motor development is over. That was just a small portion. Okay. Now cognitive development and socio-emotional development, I have skipped in the middle. That we'll consider together in the next class, and come to the next page, that is 76. There we have moral development. Okay. Abhilash, can you start reading? Moral
Moral
development.
development. Another important aspect of the child's development is learning to differentiate between the rightness and wrongness of human acts. The way children come to distinguish right from wrong, to feel guilty, to put themselves in other people's position, and to help others when they are in trouble are all components of moral development. Just as children pass through the various stages of cognitive development, according to Lawrence Kohlberg, they pass through the various stages of moral development, which are age related. Kohlberg interviewed children in which they were presented with stories in which the characters face moral dilemmas. Children were asked what the characters in the dilemma should do and why. According to him, children approach thinking about right and wrong differently at different ages. The young child, that is before 9 years of age, think in terms of external authority, according to her or him.
That's another sentence. According to her or him, actions are wrong.
Yeah, I'm using the PDF version, so
That's
it's
okay.
not.
Devika, can you read? According to her or him,
actions are wrong because he or she is punished, and right because he or she is rewarded.
yes, just a minute. Just
As
pause
the
there.
child-
Just pause. Yes. So if a child does something wrong, and if the parent is not correcting, or if the primary caretaker or the teacher is not correcting them, then they don't know that it's wrong, isn't it? Yes. Am I right? Suppose if they are given food and they throw it on the floor, and then nobody minds, nobody talks to them, nobody tries to correct them, and they don't know that it's wrong. That's how they learn it. Okay, that's why it's very important to correct from the childhood itself. It's very difficult to correct an adult. So we have to start from the childhood stage itself. Okay, continue.
As the child grows, that is by early adolescence, he or she develops moral reasoning to set a rules of others, such as parents or laws of society. These rules are accepted by the children as their own. These are internalized in order to be virtuous and to win approval from others, not to avoid punishment. Children view rules as absolute guidelines which should be followed. Moral thinking at this stage is relatively inflexible. As they grow, they gradually develop a personal moral code. You have seen that by the end of childhood, a moral gradual growth rate enables the child to develop skills of coordination and balance. Language development and child can reason logically. Socially, the child has become more involved in social systems such as family and peer groups. The next section traces changes in human development during adolescence and adulthood.
That was just the conclusion paragraph. So in early adolescence, that is after childhood, what happens is this child internalizes all the rules and regulations in the society. That is, the child is not a child anymore, it's an adolescent. Okay, so they start internalizing, which means they'll take into heart the rules and regulations that are part of the society in which they live in. Okay, it's not because of the rewards and punishments. That's not the main thing that is in their thoughts when they think of moral values and moral things. Okay, so that's about the moral development. So next class we'll see probably the cognitive and the social. Okay, thank you.